Plain and simple, the state is almost out of money, and that could mean 3 letters for you. IOU. No paycheck for state workers, no tax refunds for you, just an envelope with the promise to pay you later. It already happened to millions of people in California earlier this year, and Arizona appears to be headed down that same path.
Well, it's not swine flu, but in terms of fiscal issues, it could be worse. By next month, the state of Arizona could be out of money, with nowhere to borrow, no other options than to write IOUs. That means state employees would not get paid, and you might not get a tax refund check. Today, I sat down with the man who oversees Arizona's money, State Treasurer Dean Martin.
I informed the legislature today that we can no longer guarantee that the state will be able to cover the checks it writes in 2010. We may, and we are preparing for what do we do when when we have to start bouncing checks for the state.
Are we talking about IOUs to state workers? They would get a promise of repayment at some unknown time, but this isn't something they could go to the grocery store and buy food with or pay their mortgage.
Unfortunately, that's correct. Right now, we're looking at January being right at the limit, and so any small adjustment in the economy, if things get just slightly worse, we will not be able to pay all the bills that the state's incurring. And at that point, it's first come, first serve. So whatever checks show up, we'll cover the ones we can, and I can't guarantee you there'll be enough money to cover them all.
Does that mean get your taxes in early if you've got a refund coming, because otherwise you might get an IOU from the state?
It's possible they may be delaying refunds. Paychecks may be affected, school payments, basically anything the state does. Once you're out at money, this is a math problem. It doesn't discriminate. When the money's there, those bills get paid. When there's money isn't there, they don't.
Martin says both Republicans and Democrats at the Capitol share the blame.
There were a lot of increases in the budget over the last couple of years. The budget grew 10.5% the year before last, 6.5% last year. Why are we growing budgets in the middle of one of the worst recessions we've seen in decades?
When will we reach a point where we won't be coming down to your office asking you these questions?
Well, once they balance the budget, the whole doesn't go away. It just stops getting worse. So we're looking at, once they finally get a structurally balanced budget in place, it'll be another 3 to 4 years before the bank balances are in the positive.
Martin says it's a simple math problem. The state is spending $10 billion this fiscal year and only collecting $6.5 billion. The math simply doesn't add up.
So are you willing to pay bigger sales taxes to help us get out of this mess? It's an option that may be put to voters if the governor has it her way. Governor Brewer called the legislature into special session beginning Thursday. During the session, she will ask lawmakers to find ways to ease the state's $1.6 billion shortfall. Among the items on the agenda, spending cuts and a temporary sales tax to be put on a ballot for voters to decide.